Good morning, Wild Pack. Whoop, 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 whoop. Who can hear me? Roo! And even rise and shine. Oh, Lord. Oh, perfect sound. I strive to be perfect like you don't even know. So thank you for that. Hey, Jacqueline Helper, did you see my note in there about the white horse? Good morning, everyone. Wide awake. Excellent, excellent, excellent. That's right. Rise and shine. Cause it finna be like church up a whore. For real. They're craziness. So I'm gonna get right to it, y'all, cause there's a lot to cover today. So first of all, thank you as always for joining me and the animal allies. And if you hear a crazy noise during the readings, that's my twofer dog. I call her a twofer because she's part Chihuahua and part pot-bellied pig, and she snores like the Dickens. And we both have been up pretty much most of the night. It's insanity, but for really, really good reasons. So, that being said, why do I have such resistance to the first part of this that I'm supposed to do as a YouTuber? Let me just get it out of the way. If you like the free content that that we give you here, please subscribe, like, and comment. But really, guys, I really, and girls and everybody, I really wish that you would, because the story that I'm about to tell y'all, yes, you'll be helping me, but mostly you'll be helping the world and the animal allies, because I'm going to share a story with you this morning. Also, I'm still telling everybody that I am only answering questions and responding to questions on my own forums. And also just a humongous thank you to Teapot and Maureen, the amazing moderators that I have and that you all have, and also to Amy Pittman, who is my right hand, and between her and Joel, what they helped me accomplish. I again, for those of you that watch any of the videos or whatever, that I had a thing that was timely, and Craven got, this is what we call it in the South, a Craven got flung on me last week. And I had to do this project. I did not have a choice. But I was very glad and very grateful to do it. So they burned the midnight oil around the clock with me, and we appreciate it. And so the other thing that I want to say is, for the first time in almost a year, I am going to take a 3-day break from the lives. And so you will not see a live recording from me tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday and Monday, but I'll be back at it Tuesday. We're moving the Monday live to Tuesday. I need a little bit of a break, and a lot of you have, weirdly, I just love this. It's so awesome. A bunch of y'all have written me and said, "Oh, I'm so sorry I can't be there for the live," and I'm like, "That's the sweetest thing ever. That's so kind." So anyway, so Jacqueline, the horse. I have a white horse in the deck, Jacqueline Hepler. I have a white horse. It's on the Chariot card. There's a white horse and a black horse. And thank you to I think it was C. Canuel that said, and also I sent out an update for the book this morning, and one of the chapter, the chapter page title, page, I'm tired, but that makes me super psychic. So it's going to be a fun ride this morning. It has a white horse on it because it's about the wheel of life and the symbolism and omens that you can get from seeing a dead animal or having one of your fur babies pass away, or even a human person pass away. It doesn't have to be, God forbid, a child or anything, but and that phrase, death comes on a pale horse. And I'm a huge Piers Anthony fan. I don't know if you guys know Piers Anthony, the fantasy writer, but he's got this amazing series called The Immortals Incarnate or something like that. And it treats each thing like death. I can't remember them all now, but it puts a real person, a real personality into that role like it's a job, and they're fascinating. But anyway, okay. So thank you guys for all the compliments. I've gotten all the housekeeping out of the way. Oh, one other thing, we do a pretty good job of this, but if you guys see somebody, say, I'm drawn to you, text me, inbox me for a free reading or whatever, that's none of my people. And it surely is not me. I would really recommend you don't respond to those people. And I've decided to take a different tact with him because I usually have something snarky to say, triple Scorpio, and it irks me when they do that. But not now. Now I'm going to tell them I love them, how much. Oh, thank you. Thank you, C. Canuel. Yay. Thank you so much. Thank you for the donation. And I never ask for donations on the channel, but when you do give them, I appreciate it very much for me, but I also give 50% of all the donations in my YouTube money to all of the animal charities that I represent. This is why Bernadette needs 3 days off. I'll just be babbling and drooling out of one side of my mouth by tomorrow. So anyway, also, I would also like to say that through the craziest circumstances, these two things happened. And I'm going to tell you about the first one. Did I tell y'all about the cats I'm adopting? Can somebody say, yes, you told us on the live last week? I think I did, so I won't go through that story again. Just tell me and remind me. So I'm going to start off with the story, and then we're going to do the readings. I'm doing it differently today. I am pulling a tarot. Okay, great. Thank you, C. Canuel. Memories. They're nowhere in my mind. They're not even misty watercolored memories. They just gone. So I am going to take a deep dive into the tarot cards today, the ones that are for today, and they're for you all, but I'm doing something different, and I've pulled a 3-card spread, a 3-card tarot spread, the past, present, future, because there is the energy that I sat in with you all last night, because I missed you. I really did. I did, you guys. I really missed you. So I missed you. And I just thank you. I just thank you for all you do for the animal allies. I just do. And I got really emotional last night, but I felt it coming from the pack. So are y'all experiencing a really, hey, Roz, hey, honey, how are you? All the way from Ireland. Oh, kitties. So my BFF and I, we are going to, we're driving to Perry, Georgia, where Amy's from. And we're picking them up. We're meeting one of my other BFFs, Tanya, at the in Perry, because they got kin there. They got family there. So we're gonna. Oh, Maria, that's really sweet. You know what? I don't know how to tell you. I don't even know how to tell you to donate. I was such a classy and knowledgeable YouTuber. But anyway, so let me tell you guys why I'm gonna beg every time. I'm just going to start begging for y'all to share the videos and whatnot. And for a couple reasons. Number one, next week, I'm starting to do videos that are not just readings, but they're how you can work with the animal allies pretty much in anything you need to do, you want to do, to help rid you of anxiety, to help rid you of fear. If you are having body image issues, confidence issues, fears, because I have seen miracles when people work with the animal allies like nothing I've ever seen in now acupuncture. It runs a close second. If you have somebody that knows what they're doing and they know how to give acupuncture to an empath or a sensitive or a psychic or whatever, make no mistake. If they don't believe those things or they don't know about metaphysical acupuncture, they can mess up your chi like somebody has gone into you and crossed your wires, and you'll be short-circuiting out for days unless you find somebody that knows that. But no Reiki, no massage, no other kind of body work I've ever seen do this. No, it's crazy. And let me give you an example of that. I have the permission from my client. I won't mention her name, but she pledged the Kickstarter. And to all of you who pledged Kickstarter, I am so eternally grateful. We're still ahead of schedule, crazy enough. And so I read for her yesterday because she, that was part of what she got in the Kickstarter. And all of this information, for you all that don't know me, I'm an evidential psychic medium, and that means I produce evidence. And what that means is yesterday I was like, I see this giant white staircase leading up to like what I see as the U.S. Capitol, but now that's starting to turn into marble, very glassy marble, and I'm seeing a different kinds of columns, and I'm seeing like what I perceive to be Roman and Greek soldiers standing there on guard, and I was like, are you working with Greek or Roman or even Egyptian energy or something like that? She goes, oh my God. And she's been working with Dionysus and Athena. No, not Dionysus. Athena and oh, great googly moogly. Who's the one that has the owl sits on her shoulder? Anyway, she's been working with that energy, and she's really been exploring that and being called to that. That's called evidence, right? How would I know that? Come on, y'all. Because the animal allies and my guides on the other side and my inner knowing and so on and so forth. Where I'm going with all of this, of why I'm going to beg y'all to share these videos and whatnot, is at the end of the reading, she said, listen, I want to tell you something. I said, shoot. She said, last reading that we did, you told me that a beluga whale was just everywhere, and that I could do well for myself. I never tell anybody they need to do anything, and it infuriates me when people tell me that. I don't know why it infuriates me. It's just a thing that people do. But, and I know no harm is meant from it, but it irks me. But all of that said, I said, you know, do all of the research that you can, read everything you can read about beluga whales. And there's a thing going on in your life that really desperately needs healing and attention, and you just don't know what to do. And she's like, you're right. But she didn't tell me anything about it. So come to find out, she did. She took it very seriously. She just went berserk, looking up everything she could look up, reading everything she could read about beluga whales. And she discovered that a lone beluga whale was put in a tank with all dolphins. And it, I don't know if you all know this, but beluga whales are like mynah birds or parrots or canaries. In fact, they're called sea canaries because they can mimic the voice, even humans, of almost everything they hear. And I would bet they could probably mimic the sounds or the voice of everything they hear. They just may not have heard it yet. So what they encountered was that over a 2-month period that the beluga whale started adopting the same language as the dolphins. Now, this did not turn a beluga whale into a dolphin. The beluga whale still acted like beluga whales act, but it was creating connection and friendships and relationships. What she told me was that was the key to the whole thing, because she is taking care of a young man in her family who is autistic, and they have been having a really rough go of it. And he's young, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, and they're having a rough time of it. A lot of it because of his communication. So what she realized was, well, he can stay himself, but if we take this from a different tact and we somehow figure out how to teach him to communicate with the other dolphins, problem solved. And guess what? They did figure it out. All of a sudden, it's like a brand new kid is in this kid who was, you know, frustrated and angry and upset in himself with the situation. There was a lot of stress. She's gotten so much better. So I'm really fortunate that you know, there are clients that will allow me to share their stories sometimes. And I'm really fortunate to have a quote unquote bird's eye view of these miracles that happen. But that's why, y'all, why I really want you to share the material here. And I had somebody ask me the greatest question the other day. I thought, you know, I don't know why I've never talked about this, but they wanted to know why, and it's a friend of mine. She's also a very, very fine psychic medium and tarot flipper. It's Corby Mitleid. She doesn't do as much mediumship as she does psychic and tarot, but she's amazing. And some time ago, if I remember correctly, she asked me why I thought, you know, what was the reason that working with the animal allies just really upped a psychic, a clairvoyant, a healer, a mediums, or even an intuitive tarot reader, just really upped their game. And I said, well, because when we do that, we give ourselves permission to come from the most natural place inside of us. And that natural place of us is talking to and connecting with the most natural side of that person, which is why when I do readings, I always ask, how personal can this reading be? Because people will show up to readings and they want information, but they don't a lot of times want to take a look at what they would have to do or what their part in it was or whatever. And spirit brings me that, right? Because that's the only way that you're going to make a metamorphosis and get the life that you really want and the people in your life that you really want, right? So realizing that, I was just like, that makes total sense. It just gives us, working with the animals, gives us permission to just be our most natural self and connect with that person's most natural self, which will always contain the truth. Always. Meaning, even if they're a compulsive liar, they could be a sociopath, they can be a narcissism, lordy, selfies, narcissism, YouTube. They can be all of those things, but even if they're hiding from themselves, you can't hide from their natural self, which may be those things. So, having said that, let me just get on with the Raven. Oh my God. Raven. Even him, be clear, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional of any kind, but I'm going to tell you, I worked with children for a very, very many years, like decades, in basically human performance. I coached acting specifically for child and young adult actors. When a kid says something like that, they're very, hola, Larry, they're very self-aware. And you might sit with the animal allies, or you might ask him to sit with you with the animal allies and just see what kind of animal pops into his mind. And then maybe work through some of those communication things like that. I have to tell you, children are incredible at connecting with their animal allies because they're so literal. If you're just like, okay, what question do you want to ask the animal allies? It doesn't, I'll be like, okay, just sit, and I don't teach classes for children. But, you know, I have friends that have kids and I work with them sometimes just for fun. And, you know, I'll say, okay, take a deep breath and close your eyes. Ask your question in your heart. And then what's the animal that first pops up? And gosh darn it, almost every time a kid will get an animal or two. And then we'll talk about its meaning and they'll go on their merry way. All right. Whoop, whoop. Ifadola. I love you. My heart, I just love you. And here's why I love you. You must be in a really, really bad place that you want to scam people. And I'm sorry that you are in that space, but you can't play here. If you want to come back and truly be a spiritual man and join us, you are very welcome. But for now, my band hammer is strong. Bye-bye. See, wasn't that nicer than me going? All right, here we go. So I'd like everybody to just take a second. And I would like you to ask for clarity on the thing that is most pressing on your mind. Anything, and I mean anything. And these next three cards are about the past of this situation. Not that you need to know that, but it will give you insight, because once you get the history of something, then you can better understand or heal that history and better understand what's going on in the present, so you can move forward to the next part, right? Okay. So, Bernadette's trying. I'm really a nice person. So Lavina, my mods, welcome, Lavina. My mods will tell you how it works around here. Danny, my mods will tell you how it works around here. And, yeah. So all of that being said, just take a minute, everybody, and just think of the thing that is most pressing on your mind and heart. And here's your answer. And you're going to be over the moon, which is why I wore my moon t-shirt this morning. Okay. So that's not how it works, Danny. My mods will tell you how it works. In your mind, you could write the question. You totally can. I love that you put love, Danny, because, these people, it's Facebook Teapot. If you're talking about the Ebola people, it's on Facebook. So Whatever your question is, here are your answers. And all I can say is, if this doesn't carry you on a high for the next, I don't even know how long, your soul is dead because it is absolutely one of the most encouraging things I've seen come out in a long time. And it just so clearly paints a picture of, So let me get to it, and I will tell you that whatever this is on your mind, the past, and this can be a distant past, it can be a like yesterday or like this morning, but that card for you all today for the past, this is just insanity, is the Four of Cups inverted. Now, why I'm showing you the traditional Rider-Waite card, and that's what I work with, is the Rider-Waite-Smith card. For those of you that don't know me yet, I do read every day from my own award-winning, Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle deck, and it is based on the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot with all of its traditional tarot card meanings, and it also matches the animal energy that is appropriate for that tarot card. Okay, so when we take a look at, and I'll just hold it up again because these are lives, and I hope by the end of the week, the first of next week, I'm going to be comfortable sharing my screen with you. It'll be so much easier for you all. I don't want to blow it up in the middle of a thing, in the middle of a live reading, right? A live tarot reading. So, this Four of Cups reversed, you can just say, oh, that's the Spiritual Awakening card. And with that comes, usually when people experience a true spiritual awakening, it's incredibly disruptive, because what will happen is that which no longer serves falls away, even if you didn't actively do it. But I guarantee you, your subconscious did it. And if you have a spiritual awakening, that's definitely going to, it's just going to bring you to a whole different awareness of the other side. You might really be recontemplating or contemplating your theories about God, the universe, angels, spirit guides, meaning you now may become more attached to them. So when you take a look at this card, if you look at it upright, the symbolism of this card is, of course, this fella or girl sitting beneath a tree with the hand of God coming out from the clouds, handing a cup. So cups are, the suit of cups, they represent emotion. It's that watery, super emotional thing. And you might be in the throes of, or it is coming, and you can feel it coming. Like you just may feel a general sense of unrest, then you just really don't know why. But that's because, especially if you're in the healing lane, like you're working on your own healing, aren't we all every day, right? Or you're trying to help somebody else, or you literally, that's your profession, or you're trying to consider, should I go to classes to do this? And that's in any kind of healing. That doesn't have to mean necessarily the medical profession. That can mean grooming animals. It can mean going to work for a department that is law in nature. It might be being a lawyer. It might even be being a baker. It absolutely might mean that, because whatever you want to do, whoever you want to be, whatever you want to create, if you first come at it from, what do I want to put out there in the world? What is spirit calling me to do? And when I say spirit, remember, my belief is, and there are people that have all different kinds of beliefs, and mine is not right or wrong, and theirs is not right or wrong. It's just how I've seen it work so far, which might be my reality, because I might have created that whole reality. And that's the whole point. If you notice that, you're just like, you know what, I've always wanted to own a cupcake bakery, right? Then why do you love that? Why do you want to do that? If you're like, you know what, I want to go back to school and I want to get a master's degree. Why do you love that? Why do you want to do that? And if you don't love it, don't do it. I would, and if, when you go with the literal meanings of this tarot card, it really does call you, the Four of Cups, especially inverted, it really calls you to be honest and true about your emotions. Meaning, let's say that you're in a relationship of some kind with someone, and, you know, like a committed relationship. And let's say that that person all of a sudden starts having life-threatening illness, and then it is diagnosed that they are probably going to have a lot more of that. And all of a sudden, what you thought was being in love or loving this person till death do us part, poof, it's gone in a second, because now you're looking at a life. I'm going to put this card down, y'all. My hand's falling asleep. Now you're looking at a life where, you know, depends on how much love you have for each other, or do you just immediately envision your life as that person's caretaker, and step and fetcher and kind of roommate or nursemaid, or do you love them so much you feel honored? You know that video Rise Up, if you all have seen that, where she is just so in love still with her man, her husband, and she gladly takes care of him. He got injured in the war, he can't walk, and he's in a wheelchair. That's the kind of love I'm talking about. But if you don't have that, then the Four of Cups inverted really encourages you to be honest with yourself, and then work it out with this other person. Because if you don't, this is not going to go over well. So if you're dragging some stuff from the past, you know, because remember, this card is for specifically speaking to the past about whatever your question is. What have you drug forward from that time? And know that all of your feelings are valid. You don't have to be embarrassed. You don't have to feel shame. And it is, how do I put this? Going into something like that, where what you say is, well, I have to do the right thing. Okay. But what really is the right thing? It's really, you know, it's asking you to consider that, because if you take a look, you'll find that those cups, the chalices in this, are golden. So that talks to me, when I read with this tarot card, that talks to me about, really, when this card shows up in a tarot reading, it just really talks to me that if that person would just really come to see that their emotions are truly golden, because they are an early warning system much of the time. Now, you might be seeing things through filters, and that may not be the healthiest choice, right? But it's, oh my God, I pulled the wrong card. It's not the beaver. It's the Four of Cups in my deck is actually the frog. I don't know what I was thinking. Except for there's some reason then that the Seven of Cups also came out. But this card, okay, listen, I don't ever make this mistake. We're gonna have to blend this in. Oh my gosh. Hello, Look at the word on this card, deception. The Seven of Cups, right? You guys know the symbolism on that card. It's about all, wow, y'all, see, this is how spirit works. So I'm giving you the breakdown on the Four of Cups because that's this card, but the I don't know how I pulled both of these cards and didn't notice, except for clearly it oh my gosh. Oh, I just love Spirit Totem and Power Animals and the Animal Spirit Guides. See, they're all about what's natural and what's the truth. I won't dig for it now, but the Seven of Cups is the person standing in front of all those cups and trying to make decisions. But there's so many decisions to make that sometimes they walk in an illusion, and they're not honest with themselves about what their dreams are, the ones, whether they can achieve them or not achieve them, or should let them go or not let them go. And with this inverted, there you go, right there. It's what of whatever you're thinking about when you pull a card, if you're doing a tarot reading for yourself or anybody else, especially if you're an intuitive tarot reader, what does that tell you about your past with whatever question this is that you have going on? Now, in the deck, the Arc Animal Tarot and Oracle deck, that's a frog. And at the end of the day, frogs are big, big, big medicine. They represent a person who walks easily in both worlds, both here and beyond the veil. They always represent healing of all kinds. Frogs represent using your voice. Oh my gosh, duh. I told y'all I was really tired. And when I get really tired, I get crazy psychic. So put in the chat if you are having challenges lately with your own communication, meaning that people who are communicating with you are disturbing your demons, or you're finding that it's either tough to get out what you're... Y'all, it's throat chakra day. It's throat chakra day. And here we are talking about communication. Sometimes I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer. It took me a little minute to put it together, but I will say this. As a reader, or again, even if you're doing it for yourself or friends and family, or you're doing it professionally, not that I would give advice to a professional reader, any reader, but if you show up here to my channel, I've got to presume that you're looking for, all kinds of things. So when I teach psychic development or mediumship development or even tarot reading, I find that the number one thing that people have to bridge to be able to get accurate messages, evidential messages, is they've got to stop. They should, in my experience, go with the first thing that pops in their mind. But if it's like, let's say it's just simply a color, like today, the throat chakra is, it's blue, and, maybe you just see the color blue around someone. Give yourself a minute and ask spirit to clarify. Give yourself a minute for the story to unfold. Like with the lady yesterday, I saw white steps leading up to what at first seemed to me like the Capitol of the United States. And then, the Capitol, and then it transformed into a Greek Roman amazing palace, but it wasn't a palace. It was more like where their government was housed. So, wow, the messages are just coming. Put in the chat, you all, if it, the day of the throat chakra, Maureen. Okay, Mary, been struggling with a secret since last Saturday, right? Not being listened to or able to speak my feelings. Okay, there you go. So everything is, hey, would somebody tell Stephanie Tipton we're here? I don't know why she's not seeing our messages, but tell her we're here. She asked if we're here. So there's so much about the past that's going on for you all. I don't even... Wowzers. So, for the next few minutes, I do want to take specific questions about the past, about whatever this is that you ask Spirit to get clarity on this morning. So just type away and I will answer your particular questions about the past of this situation, about whatever it was that you put this morning. It could have been the Pantheon. Kelly, I don't know. Really? Y'all, I don't know. That's going to be on YouTube if the chat isn't working. Honest to goodness. It won't be on Streamlabs. It could have been. All right. Who has a question about the past, very specifically relating? Hey, Corby. Oh, good morning, Corby. Hey, y'all. I just mentioned you earlier in the chat, Corby. That's my soul sister, Corby, who's an amazing reader. She's one of the people I call and I'm like, Corby, I need clarity. help. So how do you reconnect so you are not apathetic? Well, I guess if you want to know how to connect with the past so you're not apathetic, means you want to connect with the past. The thing that I don't know is why you want to do that. Meaning that's not what made you. This part is psychic. This has nothing to do with the tarot card meanings. Hold on. Oh, Beverly Wakefield Earthwise. That would make a clever license plate. Earthwise. That's cool. So oh goodness. When I step into your energy, I'm being told that's not what's making you apathetic, the past of this situation. It's more your fear of the future that's bringing on that apathetic thing. It's a buffer. Like if I don't feel, I can't be hurt. But mostly what I feel is there was a lot of rage or anger with whatever situation you're talking about, Beverly. It may not have been, it was in you, but it may not have been as prevalent in you as what I just see a very angry, like, this is graphic. Sorry, but it's what I see. Like if somebody scrapes their knee or something or their leg and it's all red and it's inflamed and it looks like it hurts because it does. I see you standing in the middle of something like that so that the situation around you is truly that hurtful, truly that raw, truly that everything, but it's a rage. The red colors in this are reds I've never seen before. So what I would encourage is that to reconnect, and I'm assuming, psychically, I'm not even assuming it, psychically, here's what I'm hearing, is that this wasn't an immediate shutdown. This had been ramping up for a long time, and meaning you're feeling apathetic about life in general. And so I would say, Canuel, you're like, I have some missing pieces from my heart. A lot I don't know. I think a lot of people could probably connect with this morning about how if you have gotten, okay, 1 second. Danny Dini Kuvusin or whatever your name is. I don't recognize your name and welcome. Oh, I'm sorry. You replied to yourself. I was like, who's doing readings? Okay. So all of that being said, I would really encourage you here's the animal I see coming to you is a hippo. Literally a hippo. And when I take a look at what that means, hippos absolutely can bring on the most joy. Oh, that's it. Beverly, it's a balance. You've got to get balanced with how you're an all or nothing kind of person. So you either somehow in your spirit, you've chosen subconsciously to either be apathetic or be present with your emotions, but you're not present with your emotions because you're trying to avoid the anger, right? I started to say pain or hurt, but then it turned into anger. You're trying to, do that. So that's how it's going to help you, because hippos are considered one of the top 5 most aggressive animals in the world, and they are, but they're also so full of love and they're so playful. They can be very dolphin-like in their playfulness. So I would tell you to work with hippo energy and see what that does for you. Okay, so let's see. Who else has a question? Okay. So all right, so I would please ask you to ask a question that's very specific to whatever it is that you're asking about during this time, yeah, I don't do anger well. Right. So Beverly, I would, yeah. Okay. So A Sparks, I'm open to anything about my past relationship. I have to, okay, I'm just going to go on that, A Sparks. But this is about the past of your past relationship. And what I'm being told by Spirit is your head's not even in that space to grow from it or learn from it or even resolve any feelings about it. You're just not there yet. It's almost like you brushed it off and went, meh, I was hurt for a little while, meh. And it's much deeper than that. Okay, Marsha, will things with biological dad get any better? So here's the past of that, right? Not until you decide that you're going to be better with it, despite everything and anything that he does or says. Here's why. I feel like from the time that you began a relationship with this person, the red flags, what I'm being shown is a race car track and cars, and the flag person stand there just waving a red flag. I don't see that a lot, but when I do in a psychic reading or a tarot reading, even mediumship, when I see that, I know that means you experienced, and you may not have seen it here, but you saw it here, and you definitely saw it here, the red flags, and yet everything unfolded the way that it did unfold, and now there's drama. So this person is not only never going to change, but I feel like this person has ramped up their authoritative, like they're, thinking they can boss you around or be the king of you or be the king of the family still, even though y'all are your family, but you're not that kind of family. I just see something extremely controlling about this person, and the more they lose control, the more that they are going to stoop to, and I feel like, and let me just make this disclaimer. If you're on my feed and you are, yes, Andy, you can use the ARC deck for past live reading. I do it all the time. But what I would say to you is, I would say that you simply have to come to a place. Well, it's very much like the scammer, right? I didn't just say the words, I love you so much and my heart is with you, because if you're leading this kind of life, you must be in pain. I didn't just say those words. I have finally come to a place where I can really mean it from my heart. And I really do mean it. Only people in pain, they say hurt people, and it's not always true, but it can be true. So it would be helpful to you to be able to come to a place where, and just let me tell the animal that just popped into my mind, A Sparks. It's okay. You don't have to apologize for being more specific. I got it. That's why they call it being psychic. But I just saw a white peacock, which is, I can't remember if it's the Ace of Swords or the Ace of Wands. Can you believe it? I don't remember. No, I don't even think it's that. Oh, it's the Nine of Pentacles, I believe. I'm all jumbled up this morning. Not jumbled up on the readings. I'm just jumbled up on my cards. So I would tell you, A Sparks, if you would work, if you have the ARC, that's awesome. Pull that card, pull the white peacock card, and just really, really work with that energy. Maybe sleep with it under your pillow, put her beside your bed, tote her around in your purse, whatever. But I would really encourage you to work with that energy, because if you can start seeing that person for what they are really going through, not who they really are, but what they're really going through, and know that that's about to ramp up, because I feel like there's something job related that's not going so well. I don't know if that's with you or that's with the biological dad, but something job related is scaring one of you or both of you, because, you know, if you're intertwined financially or whatever, that problem that either one of you have will eventually become the other person's problem. I feel like that's going on, and that control thing is going to ramp up. It would be nice to know if you're receiving this, and if it makes sense and it helps. Okay, so let me get going. I'm gonna move on to the second card. Now, all of that being said, let me just say that where you're at now, even if you don't feel like it, remember, even though, I want to say I messed it up, but I didn't, because when I opened to do a reading, I'm a clear channel. I might have pulled the wrong card, but I'm a clear channel. And from the time I set an intention for a reading, which for the wild pack is when I do a tarot reading or a psychic or whatever, that we do up in this crazy metaphysical madness, is set the intention that it's going to be the most helpful and healing message for whoever has the ears to listen and the eyes to see. So that the 7 of Cups, which is beaver, and the 4 of Cups, which is actually a frog, or even a toad because it's so big, that's for you. That's about the past. Now, moving forward into the future, even if you're not feeling it today, remember the spiritual awakening that was the message of those 2 cards. Well, of the 4 of Cups card inverted, right? The 4 of Cups tarot card inverted is all about spiritual awakening. And then the 7 of Cups, that tarot card meaning is also in its own way about awakening, because it's about removing the illusion. And for a lot of us, that is removing the illusion that your dreams can't come true or won't come true or whatever. It's kind of like, I had a conversation with somebody this week about praying. And this person asked me why God didn't answer their prayers. And I said, well, I don't know what you think God is. Let me explain to you what I think God is. And then if you still want me to answer, I will. So my theory on God, can't prove it. And I might think something different next week once it's, I see more evidence or whatever, or I have a, spirit sends me a shift, is that we're all God. We're all parts of God. And so I said, well, when you pray, you voice all the things you don't want, and you ask God to save you from those. She said, that's correct. And I said, right, that's not working, because what you're putting your attention on, and if you go, even if you go with the theory that God is a single individual, one ruler to rule them all, that kind of thing, it's the same diff as if you think, well, we're all part of God. I'm divine in nature. And I said, you're giving your energy, attention, and focus to that which you don't want. And that stimulates the literal electricity of the universe to go, oh, hey, she's focused on this. Well, okay, let's give her more of that. And I said, the other thing is you're not honest. You're just not honest with what you think is God. Well, she was super offended. I said, I feel for you, because I've been there. I think many of us have. But it was in the context of, honestly, she really thought that if she buried her deepest feelings on a subject, which she was judging herself on for having those feelings, she was judging herself as being disloyal, untrue, mean-spirited, just a bad person all around, that she thought, well, by burying that and not asking God about it, that God wouldn't know. So either way you believe, God's going to know, whether you believe, whatever you believe, right, about that subject, about God, because your feelings, your intentions, your electricity, whatever you most focus on is what you're going to get, and you can't hide. And for really tapped in psychic mediums, clairvoyants, empaths, intuitive tarot readers, you can't hide. You just can't. It's impossible. The electricity is there, right? Okay. Let me just get to this card. Oh, dang. Wrong card again. Hold on. Great googly moogly. The World. Now, let me tell you why these, again, you may not feel like you're there right now. But when you take a look at the traditional tarot card meanings of the world, that's it. The world is meant to be yours. You're going to have everything that you want, that you truly want. If you look at the dancer on this card, she's naked as a jaybird, and she's just balanced so perfectly in the laurel wreath, which is a winner's, symbolizes winner. And then look at the critters that are in the corners that are protecting her from all four corners, north, south, west, east. And all of the colors in here. The blue flying scarf is a symbol. The red is a symbol. The bright blue sky is a symbol that you are, if you're not now, you are actively moving into a time where your communication, again, today is Friday, the throat chakra day. You can't make this stuff up. You just can't. You're moving into a time where it won't really matter what you communicate to others, but you're getting really comfortable with being honest with yourself and not just taking, being willing to take a good look at yourself. And this is part of the spiritual awakening. This harkens back to that, right? Which is why I was like, I don't remember the last time I pulled such a fluid, connected 3-card, because that's not how I read cards. I don't do the past, present, future thing. I don't do the Celtic cross. I read intuitively. And so, but I don't remember. It's just so connected, and especially when we get to the next card. But when you take a look at, the macaw is the world card. Okay. I would encourage you to consider that as culture or the world or humanity evolves, some people will tell you that is so wrong. What I'm about to tell you is I consider it in my readings. You might decide you want to consider it, that whatever meanings and symbolism are different in the world today than they were, when the ancient texts of the Rider-Waite Tarot were penned, that any of the cards might have a shifting meaning, or they could be straight up what it reads right there, what it is right there, and that's that. That's where your intuition has to come in. I've seen people struggle a lot with the World Tarot card because it's one thing to tell people, oh my God, good things are coming. The world is your oyster, blah, blah, blah. It's so easy just to tell people that, but I don't know how many people will actually believe you when you tell them that, because if they believed it themselves, they'd be on that trajectory. So when I take a look at this card, it's about infinite possibilities and new beginnings, which makes really good sense when these two cards came inverted right before it. You're moving towards these new beginnings, but here's the thing. The biggest thing that I am hearing from this card, well, straight up the macaw, is I would bet you a dime to a donut a bunch of you have been working on not judging yourself. True or not true? CC, I don't like, little C, big C, I don't like oysters. Okay. So pearls. It can be pearls. It can be the pearls inside of the oyster. Sparks, it certainly can. So tell me in the chat, you all, if you have been really diligently working on not judging yourself positively or negatively, but just sitting, well, like you all said, true, right? You're sitting with the truth, right? I just went through this myself. I'm a pretty level-headed person. I've always been the one you want near you in an emergency. I am the one. Me and my sister, we're the ones. We are the knights that serve at the pleasure. But this past week, I had to be honest with myself about, oh, I want something so much. Okay. And you all know that my heart, like my reason for living, which, I have a lot of reasons for living, but it's about the animals, saving as many as possible and healing as many as possible. But I had to really face it. This was a good part of this. What I want is for me. Me. It's a self-actualization thing. It's a bucket list thing. It's a dream thing that I've carried around for a long time. And lo and behold, it's kind of like with the Kickstarter for the book. And I thank you all very much in every day and every way, for helping us raise $50,000 to get the new book off, get it going. I wanted like the Dickens to get awarded the Kickstarter projects we love. And sure enough, it happened. Sure enough. So I think y'all are being really honest with yourself. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you. I think y'all are radical acceptance of myself. Oh, that's a great phrase, Raven. Oh, you know what? A good friend of mine, she's the president of the Cover organization. And if you guys are in the metaphysical business, or you're thinking about getting in the business, or really just even anything, I would take a look at covr.org. covr.org. A friend of mine is the president of that. Her name is Tracy Dunblazer. And she's got some seriously miraculous. Oh my gosh. And I forgot. This is Tarot Giveaway Friday. So I'm going to be giving a special deluxe edition copy of the Ark to somebody. I'll think of the question to ask and see who's going to win it a little bit later on. Last week it was Gypsy Nana, and I hope she got her deck. We sent it out earlier in the week. So that's the judgment thing. And that's really, hey Dawn, that's really the thing that you're working on. And it's specifically because you're working on that you're going to, it's all about, thank God I'm not a magician. I'd have gotten booed off the stage by now. You really are adopting a more global view of yourself and everything in the world, meaning you just are seeing the true colors, mostly of yourself. And that is going to lead you to the proverbial pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Now, that can be just inside of yourself, your self-actualization, your self-development, your self-improvement, or whatever you want to call it. But I am feeling like, in specific, many of you that are working on removing judging yourself are also in a money mindset where you are focused on abundance with money, however you mean that, however it manifests for you, however you want it to manifest. Some people will manifest, instead of the money coming them to take a trip to Bali, someone gifts them a trip to Bali, or they win a trip to Bali. True story. I have this old gal. I love her, but she can never get her money stuff together. And dang, if she did not win a trip to Bali, and that's the only place she'd ever wanted to go in her whole life was Bali. And she wanted to. It was crazy. It was so awesome for her. Anyway, so there's that. So does anybody have a question? Okay, Lori, I'm going to go with yours first. I am Lori Romero. I'm feeling. I feel like that your question has to be specifically about the present, because this is a past, present, future tarot card pull, and that this is a question. Well, like you just said, I want to be here for my family, but sometimes I feel like I'm not their mind, body, and soul. Lori, please type in the chat, Lori Romero. I keep seeing people that are not very tall. Are you not very tall, or is your family at large not very tall? There's a reason I'm asking this. Let me just ask the animal allies. Okay. I keep seeing miniature everything around you, miniature horses, animals, not children animals, but animals that maybe are not large animals even to begin with, but then like the miniature ones, like any kind of animal that doesn't grow to be what any kind of animal that, you know, through whatever reason, they didn't grow up to be as large as the other animals, like a cow that didn't grow up to be as large, or a cat or dog or anything like that. Lori, you're 5 foot. Okay. And that's why they call it being psychic. So let me just tell you guys, that for those of you that are working on your psychic ability or taking any kind of psychic classes or anything like that, I would really encourage you to adhere to evidence. Like when the Spirit Totem and Power Animal class for y'all on Kickstarter starts on the 9th of this month, we are going to work a lot on evidence, and then we're going to work with the animal allies to get that to happen. So, you know, Lori, you're 5 foot. Let me tell you why that's relevant for your message about this today. There's more burden there than you can carry or should even imagine carrying or even try to carry. And it's not because you're not strong enough. It's that I'm feeling from spirit, you have a tendency to, like, I feel like within your family, I have a visual of you running here and then running here and running here and running here. You're always trying to catch people and things before they fall, or when you see them toppling, you're like, ah, and you dive right under it, right? It's a savior thing. I have to save it. I have to be the fixer. I have to be the peacemaker. Like you're in your mind, somehow you've gotten the feeling of that, and that's actually not true. What I'm hearing is that your path is, I feel like, right, I am the savior. Okay, so I'm not a medical professional, so when I say savior complex, I'm not diagnosing you or telling you that you have that. What I would suggest to you is to read anything, look up any material you can find on what the savior archetype is like and what the savior complex is like, and then how to move through it. Because I'm also hearing that you're very artistic, and that's actually to get you where you want to be, and actually for your family, that if you would step more into your artistry side, your full artist, that great things will unfold, and only you will know what that means. Hey, Tiffany. So all of that said, I'm going to move on. I'm going to answer one more question, then we're going to go into the last card. And let's see. I'm confused. Okay. Alpha Numerica 1. Thinking of giving notice today to more fully commit to my art for financial reasons. I'm not laughing at you, Alpha Numerica 1, but it's like I tell you, Dawn, I'm just going to answer your question straight up. Absolutely. If you work with the world card and the world energy, and especially Macaw, you'll know it inside of yourself. But let me go back to Alpha Numerica 1. I always say that when you all show up for these readings, and they are platform readings, which is what this is considered. It's like platform mediumship when you show up in a, people are on stage and they go to who they're guided to energetically. But the message, I have always found that spirit will draw the medium to the person because their message will be so relevant for other people in the quote unquote audience. It's just like was just breathed to, oh my gosh, I apologize. I've forgotten your name already because I'm channeling. I'm in the flow. The person right before you was that you need to embrace your artistry side. Not you need to, but it would go well for you if you would embrace your artistry side, because that ultimately will go the best for your family. Now, Alpha Numerica 1, that's a message for you. However, I'm I'm a little unsettled about your finances. And what I mean by that is you don't have a clear path, meaning, oh, you actually do have a path, but you don't want to take it. I'm being told that there's someone or some organization or something that could really help you out to be abundant, to be financially not just okay, but do really well with your art, and you just will not ask them. You don't like asking for people's help. You just don't like it. And so that's going to hinder you. I am being told that, okay, so okay, let me just say it. I would really tell you to work with squirrel energy on this. That's who's coming to me. But interestingly enough, it's coming to me as a white squirrel. So Alpha Numerical 1, I would ask you is, is the art that you want to do, now art is divine if you ask me, but is it specifically for the metaphysical market? Does it have a metaphysical bent to it, a spiritual bent, or even like a fantasy or that kind of thing bent to it? Whatever it is that you're doing or want to do, I can't think of any other reason why a white squirrel would come to me, and it's only happened that way maybe a few times in all the years I've been doing readings. So the white of it, or even like angelic or something with angels, there's something about that color and the color symbolism of white that is super applicable to this. And you're being asked to work with squirrel energy because they are quick movers, quick thinkers, and they are problem solvers like holy guacamole. And you haven't problem solved your way through actually being abundant with your art. If you'll do that and not fool yourself, because the other thing about squirrels is they're always busy because they're always storing up their nuts and their seeds and stuff for, winter. It's never winter here in Florida, but you know what I'm saying. And they only harvest like less than half of it because they dig fake out holes so that other critters that see them digging won't know where they're digging and won't get their food. But then their poor little brains 6 months later, when it's the winter, they've done, they're done. Like they've just forgotten where they put it. So don't have that. Well, that's going to harken back to you not liking to ask for help. You are wanting to store things away, but you're not asking for help is causing you to dig a literal empty hole for yourself. Like that's how I see it. So don't do that. Like that is not preferred. I hope that's very helpful. And so I'm going to jump into this last card. And can I just mention, y'all, I love everyone who shows up here, and I really appreciate that you show up. However, when you ask questions repeatedly in chat, I have very amazing, the best of the best moderators on the planet. They'll see you. But it is not helpful to your cause when you do that. So please don't do that. It is not helpful to your cause. I will only do what Spirit calls me to do, or go to who Spirit calls me to get to. Okay. So the last card, which is the future, is just fantastic. It is, it's the Hanged Man inverted. And when you see the Hanged Man inverted, I'm just, how it fits in the whole scheme of this past, present, future, I think is one of the most magical things I've ever seen, because it is all about self-improvement. It's all about seeing yourself and other things from a different angle. That's what that tarot card means, upright. Now, when you take a look at it inverted, you then have seen yourself at a different angle. You've seen the situation from a different perspective. If you notice the halo around this old boy's head, That's the halo of enlightenment. And some people get really creeped out by this card because it looks like he's being hung from a cross, and that's never a good sign. But that's not about that. It's like you. Let me just call it like I'm hearing it, which is you. This card, the World card, you've set this in motion. The world is opening up to you. All the infinite possibilities are opening up to you. And now you've got to own that your gifts, your talents, whatever they may be psychic and mediumship, which is a natural gift if you consider it a gift at all. It's how every single living thing is hardwired. So I would encourage you not to think of, I'm different than other people because I'm psychic. No, you're not. I love you, and there are all kinds of things about you that are individual that no one else has but you, but it ain't psychic. We all have it. We all are it. It's just we're all it to a different degree, and that's part nature and that's part nurture. That being said, it is important for you to own what you do very, very well. And the reason for that being is when you go to step into creating something that you want, the life that you want, the reason that the Hanged Man tarot card inverted is all about the self-improvement is so that when you are pursuing that which you want, and you know that you want, that can open up a whole Pandora's box of, do I deserve this? Is this, can I really do this? Am I good enough? I'm from a time era that it was, women were supposed to get married and have children and, not even work. And it can really, I don't know how each of you were raised, but things from your past, the childhood, can really stall you. Like if you had a parent or parents that didn't encourage you to pursue what you really wanted to do, or I talked to a lady a couple weeks ago. This is nuts, y'all. This old gal has a genius IQ, like literal Mensa tested genius IQ. And she's in the literal rocket ship aerospace industry. She never, ever, 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 ever applies for promotions, ever. She's never done it once in her life because she's chubby. Like, what does that have to do with anything? And I was so you see me getting flustered about it now. I was so floored at her answer. I just wanted to hug the snot out of this woman in a big old mama bear hug, because in her mind, and it is kind of true in corporate America, they tend to only want to promote the quote unquote beautiful people. But I'm like, the aerospace industry, that's filled with people of all kinds. They don't care what you look like. They care what your brain is like. She said, yes, but that would put me more front and center to others. And I don't want to be looked at because I know what they'll all be thinking. And I said, you do? You know what every one of them will be thinking at every moment? She said, yes. How fat I am. And I just don't want to be under that kind of scrutiny. Well, the rest of the reading was, I sincerely hope that she took it really for what it was, because it could be amazingly transformational to her. But the Hanged Man tarot card inverted really calls you to place some trust in, or some consideration in it. If you're feeling like lonely and isolated and like you're just trapped or you're not getting anywhere, even if you're working your hiney off, it's about patience, yes, with yourself and others. But it's really opening yourself to realize that if you've gotten called to do something, there's a reason that the universe chose you to do that. Case in point, when I was told by Spirit that I was supposed to start the websites that I have now, which, by the way, just two of them, buildingbeautifulsouls.com and whatismyspiritanimal.com, y'all, they get over 14.5 million page views per year. 14.5 million. I'd never been in the publishing business. I didn't know jack about starting websites, but I knew that's what I was being called to do. However, I did go through about 6 months of like, and here's what would happen in my head. Like, the world needs another tarot website, or another aura website, or another this website, or another that website. And one day I watched a webinar. I don't remember who it was now. Oh, it was a writing webinar, because I was determined back then I was going to write a book. It was something completely different, and I'm glad I never did it, because it would have sold 5 copies to my family. But it was a call for me to really straighten up and fly right. It was a call for me to do that, because that person pointed out how many horror movies and books have there been? A jillion. How many romances? How many this? How many that? Thank you, C. Canuel. Thank you very much for the donation. Yay, C. Canuel. So, this person said, your voice, that, they really put it in perspective. There are 7 billion people in this world. You think a number of them are not going to like how you explain things? And they might like it as much or more. They might like it less. But most people that are true studiers of anything, they'll study all kinds of voices about that. They'll study, like, I still go to Biddy Tarot's site sometimes. I have friends that have decks, like Catherine Skaggs with her Mythical Goddess Tarot. I look at her stuff all the time. It sits next to me on my it's a desk, y'all. It sits next to me on my desk at all times, because sometimes when I pull a card, yes, I'm working with my deck. I am, but sometimes the goddess stuff will pop into my head, and to do right by the client, I need to look up what this card means with the goddess energy for this client. Which, by the way, I meant to mention this earlier. This is going to be so fun. I'm going to actually start pulling out a bunch of my other tarot decks, and we're going to see how their symbolism and their imagery, their archetypes pair up with the animal card that's pulled at the time or for the day or whatever. And so we'll get to change up tarot, right? And you'll be able to, first of all, the messages will be, I don't even know what they'll be. They'll just be craziness. I call Biddy my Southern Hemisphere channel. That's funny. So all of that being said, I want to also say about the Hanged Man card inverted. It might be difficult for you to see how truly gifted you are. Oh, where'd she go? Hold on, where'd she go? Krista, I'm not calling you out, but for those of you that don't know, Krista Cook is I don't even, gifted doesn't even cover the sculpture work and the painting that she can do. And there's no hyperbole there. She can make animals look so much like animals that hey, Nikki, thank you so much. Thank you, Nikki. I really appreciate that. I would tell you that she makes animals out of sculpture and paint that look so real. You're like, is that really a baby bear sitting on your desk? I mean, it's that good. And somehow she gets the energy of the animal into its craziness. Anyway, she's a perfect person to consider this card, because, if you just boil it down to brass tacks, from a literal standpoint, the Hanged Man Tarot card has shown up for you today. Yes, you, every one of you, no matter what's on your mind, no matter what's on your heart, you are meant to hear this at just this moment, which is, this is not the time for you to allow your faith or quest for higher knowledge fail or waver. You can't. You just can't do that, because it will be a critical mistake. It's too important for your own highest and best, and further, that of the world. Because as spiritual beings, which you are, the ripple effect, the butterfly effect that you all will have if you'll please just see your own talents and your own gifts. This, let me tell you something, this project that me and my team worked on this past week, and I don't know what I'm going to do to thank them. I just drove them all into the ground. Me too. If I were not willing to own the fact, yeah, not only do I know what I'm doing, I'm good at it. When I'm able to tell you the story, I will. And I'll tell you, we'll do story hour, because it'll take about a half an hour, an hour to go through this whole story. I've even started writing it down because I know that the universe was calling on me to do this, no matter how it shakes out. Because even in this moment, if I don't get what I really, really want, oh, tell me what you want, what you really, really want. I wanna zigazay, ah. Okay. I love that song. If you want to be my lover. It doesn't matter, because the subject matter of it will happen. It may not happen immediately, but it will happen. It will happen in as elevated a way as this would happen if it unfolded. And if I were timid or afraid or second guessing myself, which is very different than being sure that you're hearing spirit, and not fooling yourself either way. Either you're too much in your ego and think that you're doing work that really is not good enough, or you think that you can't do work that will be good enough. Either way, it's about a balance, which is, you take a look at this bat, and we haven't even talked about what the bat means as the hanged man, and that is, bats, sloths, any animals that will hang upside down as a regular part of their life. They are literally the hanged man. They're looking at the whole world through a different lens because they see everything differently. And bats use sonar for location purposes. And you're being asked to use your spidey senses about all of this. Like, now is the time. Now, when we talk about, the hanged man tarot card inverted is definitely about not letting your faith waver, not letting your belief in or working toward higher spirituality, higher knowledge, whatever. Don't stop. It's that bat thing. You've got to use your spidey senses. And I know I say this all the time, but I'm going to repeat it now, because I believe it's a sickness. I truly believe, I'm not a medical professional, I'm not diagnosing, but I truly believe in my heart, when people start out earlier in life, and they, when you're a kid, you want to be everything. Sometimes I knew what I wanted to do from the time I could talk. I knew. And so I did. And when I knew I wanted to do something different, I did something different. When I knew I wanted to do something different, I did something different after that. So people that zig when they should have zagged, like people that go to school for things they never wanted to do, but they had pressure, family pressure, social pressure, whatever. Oh my God, do those people experience anxiety and depression and physical ill? They always have digestive problems. Always. I can't prove it, and I've never done the statistics on this. I didn't take a poll. I didn't keep records. But I would bet you a dime to a donut, 80% of the people I've read, which is over 65,000 at this point, when they were involved in a life long term that they did not want, whether it was a marriage, a relationship, a job, even where you live, because if you've never had a really good astrologer do the soul cartography on your chart, oh, Nikki, you could speak to that, because you're you're an astrologer. You could speak to that, whatever that cartography thing is that you lay over a person's chart and tell them where their spirit really wants to be and where their soul really wants to be. I heard from a friend the other day, they're one of their best friends. They had that done for the first time in their life. They were just unhappy here, locally, and they heard about it, and they went to their trusted astrologer, and that person was like, sounds kooky, but you're supposed to be in Tennessee. They're no more, in my mind, well, I don't know this person, but even just kind of picking up their little bit of energy, I was like, they seem a lot more a lot more city than that. And she was like, they are, but they're doing it. And I guarantee you, they will find a happiness that they'd never found living here locally. And so that's the whole thing about this, is it's just so important that you do what your gut is guiding you to do, because it's good for you and good for the world. Okay, now, so Jennifer, a cartographer is a person who works with maps, but the cartography astrology reading is where the astrologer, they pull your chart and then they lay a map of the world over top of it, and they'll tell you the different points at which, like, you're in the best location for yourself, or to stimulate whatever you want energetically, or you're not, and these are the other options. I've had it done twice now by two completely different astrologers, and each one of them said, I've never seen anything like this before. Every single one of your lines converge in India, Nepal. You ever thought about going there? I was like, yeah, my whole life. We actually had tickets to go a few years ago, and then the giant hurricane came and my husband had to stay. And we just, and then, we got a divorce and there's all that. And then, then COVID hit and I was like, ugh. But it won't be next year. But I will bet you the year after, I'm going to go spend a month or two in India and Nepal. Oh, yes, I am. I'll be living you guys from India and Nepal. That'll be awesome. Okay, so I am going to take questions now that are very specific to your future about that which specifically you asked. And I'm only going to take a couple of questions because my mods have been so very kind to stick with me when I run over time. I don't want to do that to them today. And I want to again remind everybody, you won't see. I'll ask Joel to post them just so there's something there if you want to, just because it's fun, just to do the. Y'all, I got so many emails about the readings where you pick out the card and then the meaning is below. It was crazy. There was some cool stuff that went down. So I'll post those just in case you want to do it. And I'll ask him to change out the cards, because the cards, I think, were different from Wednesday and Thursday. And I thank you so very much for being, in almost a year I've been doing these readings. I've only ever not been here a couple, maybe a half a dozen times. But I got to get with the program this weekend. So it is... Oh, thank you, Love the Thorns. Hey, honey, how are you? It's early for you out there still, huh? Yeah. Okay, Mary. That's impossible. The 29th was my birthday, and yesterday I was studying my solar return chart. Nothing is impossible, just so you know. Okay. Ooh, Sri Lanka. That's not so much for me, but... Okay. Hold on, Cheryl Ryder. Okay, hold on. Let me back up to Mary. Will my friendship ever recover? Mary Waldron, when you decide the point to which you want it to recover, then it can. And I do feel like complete and total healing can happen between the two of you, or the however many of you. And I do. I feel like it, but you've got to determine how much you're willing to reinvest in that energy, to be open and vulnerable in that energy, and have a true friendship or a true relationship. Not the kind where you're like, okay, well, we're still, good friends, but there's always that thing in the back of your mind where you're like, can I trust? Can I trust? Can I trust? Can I trust? If you can't come back, they can't come back. And I feel like the other party is a lot more willing to go through the healing. Not that anything is ever any one person's fault, but I just feel like you got like something happened behind your back. And I don't even know. I don't know why people do those things. I just don't even know. Okay, so I hope that's helpful. So once you decide, and that is, that'll pair nicely with the Hanged Man tarot card inverted, because Cheryl, I'm going to get to you in just a second, Cheryl Ryder. That'll go very nicely with that, because you'll see things from a different perspective. And as you are choosing to climb the ascension ladder, the spiritual awakening ladder, you'll take a look at the whole thing, the whole situation, and anybody that's involved in it, including yourself, and you'll see it in a more holistic manner. Not that you can guide it or manipulate it, but you can determine how you want to show up for things in this person. But I'm telling you now, if it's always with that thing in the back of your mind, well, I'll enjoy this person for who they are and what they are, and I will love them for who they are, but they'll never be seated in here again. That's going to blow up in your face. Please don't do that. It will go very badly. And this time, you would be the one that would carry the brunt of, not blame, it's not like that, but maybe causation, maybe being a catalyst. Whereas the other person, I do believe has seen their faux pas and really does want to make up for it. Okay, Cheryl Ryder, who's going to be with you? I assume that you're asking, Cheryl. No, it's fine. No. When you say who's going to be with me in my tarot tribe, Cheryl, can you just type yes or no to this? Is it an animal that you're asking that's going to be with you in your tarot tribe? Cheryl, you want me to get an animal energy around that? Just type yes or no. You're welcome, Mary. Okay, Cheryl, I'm going, yes. Okay, got you. It's the right platform, Cheryl. It is. It is. And I hope it's encouraging to everybody. I know this card has come out for the reading of the day, but when I tapped in and asked the animal allies who you should be working with, like literally should be working with, it is macaw and it is the world. And here's why. And for you all that don't know, Cheryl Ryder, I honor her. She is a tarot teacher and reader of Not of This World. She's incredible. And I'm very fortunate to be able to call her a friend and a soul sister. Very fortunate. Absolutely a champion of anybody oppressed. No judgment. I aspire to be this woman one day, to be that elevated spiritually. I got a long way to go. But Cheryl, you're so very humble when you go about putting something together. And I don't know what you mean by tarot tribe, but again, I don't know what you mean by tarot tribe, but there's a call for you to not lead with the healer side of you, but to lead with the authority you. And I don't know if you know how to bring forth that energy. And it's not about control and it's not about manipulation. It's about a charisma. It's about an energetic pattern. It's about an aura, a chakra, energetic thing around you where not only is it okay, but really this thing that you're doing, wow. It's like you're going to be creating something in tarot that has maybe, not that it has never existed, but there's such a small fraction of teachers or people that know what you know about tarot, the archetypes, how to relate it to people, in readings, how to like, you could, like if somebody said to you, yeah, Smarty Pants, how about you tell me why the dinosaurs were wiped out? What really happened? You could probably, nope, you absolutely could give a more plausible and true answer to that than even the scientists. It, like, seriously, that much. And what you're going to be able to teach people, and I keep hearing the word respect. There's a reverence of respect that you're going to be able to infuse in this tarot tribe that is then going to take the tribe that seats in that information, that really takes away, they will have the eyes to see and the ears to listen, and they'll start to spider out, and that's how they will teach, and that's how they will read. And it's almost like you're going to be starting a movement in the way that people start waking up. They start wanting to approach tarot and approach readings and healings, because I feel like, now we haven't talked in a while, like on the phone, when we just casually hit each other on Facebook every now and again. But I feel like since the last time we talked, you've stepped more into your healer self, meaning you're talking about it more. You've maybe even started to do healings or facilitate healing in some way. Although everything you say and do, especially, y'all, she's a cook like you ain't never seen. Holy cow, can Cheryl Ryder cook? It's incredible. I want to just get a little trailer and live in her yard, so I can eat her food. But there's something about that. Yeah. So the animal I would tell you to work with truly is the macaw, and work with the world card, because there's something that you don't think will be easy about this. Every time I see you stepping forward, I see you getting bumped back, because you're like, oh, this is difficult. I don't know what that difficulty is, but it's made up in your mind. It's an illusion, because you will end up being just like this old gal dancing right in the middle of the winner's laurel wreath. There you go. I hope that's helpful. All right, you all. I love you very much. I got to get, and I hope this was helpful to everybody. And so I thank you, Cheryl. Now you're gonna make me cry. Don't do that. When and Cheryl's a Scorpio too. So we I sold you out, Cheryl. I did. I told everybody you're a Scorpio. So I love y'all very much. I thank you so very much. And there have been so many people that have been so kind, reaching out and saying, hey, we don't know what you're working on, but we're sending you good energy. And so please, if you like what we do here, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, hit the little ringy dingy bell thingy, comment. And if you have questions, you want to discuss things in private, and you want me to, be able to know and at least try to get to you, please go on the forums, wildpackwisdom.com/forums. It's a private community. It's Mama Bear's community. We have the same great mods over there. Teapot, Maureen, Grasshopper is over there, and she's they're all amazing moderators, just all amazing. So I hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend. And again, I hope this was helpful for everybody in every way. Thank you, Maureen, for sharing the link. And, oh, Raj, your baby's trying to hug you through the phone. Oh, I love that. And you all, I will think of you tomorrow as I go adopt 2 cats that I did not need in my life, but apparently Spirit thinks I do. And just have a glorious weekend. And I will catch you on Tuesday morning, not Monday morning. And I'll send out notices about all that. So how do we always end? Do good for animals, including yourself, and stay wild.